Rise. It is Wednesday, the 22nd. On Wednesday, the 22nd of July. So it's Wednesday, that part of the week that's already settled, the middle, more or less the middle there. After last week, when you had an intense week, like the World Cup, which was very, very intense. Uh, I lost a lot of storylines just to, not to hang on there, but to just shock after shock with the unexpected. Because it's just, very. If you're born with the sport, football, I was actually happy to see Trump next to the triumph of the Spanish team and sharing the victory. And of course, why not? I mean, if you have a chance just to pause there for a second and have that victorious moment that's shared. After all, he's celebrating, I don't know if it's half of the people in the United States is Spanish or less or more. Victory is a victory. So I guess United Kingdom is not giving the Falkland Islands, isn't it? Right? It should be an exchange idea as to be mapping certain territories. But that's something that, if you look at Trump, he loves to play. He's a player. So you have these games and he's playing ahead with the rules, promoting his game ahead. And when I saw him, I was really like, he got married with Melania. I was like, I'll support him, I will support him. I knew he was going to run for president sometime and needed to have stable relationship when I was in New York City. 20 years ago. Who knew that it takes a very, very long preparation to get, like, for example, where Trump is. Wherever you follow a bad road or good, he is right now the president of the United States. He could help us change a bit the narrative for what's rigged and help to improve localities with the mapping and with his administration to gain more power by, because we need a United States, all right? It's not that we're treating United States as the enemy or anything. Especially me, that I have nothing. I mean, I just have internet connection, computer, because I would buy plastic titties and have fun and just, you don't really have to use your brain pretty much. Just, be guided and work with more support, of course, kind of manly support. There are many psychologies around that because they think you have more self-esteem if you have more titties. If you have more titties, you're more sexually powerful, or you have more nourishment to give. There's something psychologically behind. International therapists talk about the lack of being breastfed. So it influence with the hunger of having that generosity from the female aspect that makes them more manly, because they hate that need. They need that need, and at the same time, so it's just another sort of relationship through that. I brought a computer instead. I thought, well, maybe I just, one day I get a man that can, compete with me. Oh, I have artificial intelligence, so I'm very grateful to all the tech titans. They have been working with artificial intelligence for decades. All right, for us, it's just new. Bill Gates did very good play by putting artificial intelligence, so nobody's looking after virtual reality rules and provoking against what wants to do, and there are different values. If you study the stock market or how people sell and buy. But now Donald Trump is in the White House understanding more the investments of war, maybe getting to learn from a deeper. He must have known, of course, but he's getting more industrial about it, saying, "Hey, you know, every day I move is money." So all those cars that are invested in the military can also help to recover some countries without having to invade them or bully them or destroy them. We have found in Venezuela that there has been cracks on the earth with coal that's been burning, like fire coming under the earth. I cannot express the word correctly. So I would give it more to people that can rectify what is geology. What happens if you have put like a nuclear bomb under the earth, and all this fire comes from within because is not from a tectonic plate moving. It's 12:21 a.m. Um, I've been just very grateful to the coach of England, how well he speaks to the media. Um, he has a connection with the people, so he's in relation, talking with the people. The people ask for them to run freely. They also feel honor that I am like any person that's looking at the game, so you can feel where it's going and then going back to control, which normally if you were that age, you would just be running wild, right? And going all for it. As you are designed to be in all your glory. Um, well, I mean, I've been dancing in Ibiza and the Pasha, um, India with meditations. My boyfriend from Germany created events in Goa, in boats, anywhere. Um, it was for a short period because I'm not a person that's really from Goa, and he ended up in India, in Pune, and saying, "Wow, man, I have more, relationships than in Goa when I'm so popular there." And I meet so many people, and my mother will say, "Yes, because you're high on drugs. Here's more about meditation and being in connection with the body. All these meditations are physical to prepare for being in silence, where the mind is more of a witness." So there's a lot of emotional turmoil, and so the word of the week is motion, from movements, because it's the scenario. And victory is the transition for next week, right? Can imagine the players having more of a holiday. Those who won now have to shake hands with a lot of people and keep, the relationship with the public. Um, everybody has their victory. So after watching the documentary in Netflix from the French team and South Africa, wow, it was very strong. The way the coach talked about their team, and it was nice to see the honesty, at least to show it, right? The level of narcissism of showing your true colors, and just saying with the arrogance, famous French arrogance that even the Spanish say the French are arrogant, they would rather study English. But I've loved French. I have painted in French bars in Ibiza and hung out with a friend. I hung out with everyone, so it's very difficult to lean to one side only. So I am just good for. I'm just very good for things in general. All right, I'm not very good for going for one party or a specific person or one country. So yes, I do love England, and I live in England. And when I look at my mother, and I love her as well, I just ask her, "Well, if Spain wins, you're half Spanish, mom." It's like I am just allowing her blessings to let Spain win when I'm watching the game, and she looks at me like, like, how dare you, to say that to her because she's Argentina. I said, but your mother is Argentine, is Spanish, and you're in Spain, and she looks at me like, well, you know, she's 100% going for Argentina all her life. But it was like she would allow it because I asked her because I'm a brat. But this is just one's imagination and relationship, and everybody's having this relationship at home when you're watching the game and you're totally delusional with your families, whether you win or lose. It's just beautiful to see the team coming to England and how the Spanish team is coming to Spain. Like how they don't organize so well for them to film them. Like go with have better bags, being treated better. I don't know why they give them these bags. It's just the whole thing of organizing and learning to prepare with each other. I got spirited at work that day because at work, Linda, because I was sort of like, I'm not being double faced, I didn't say it, but they're very highly intelligent and they can read the room. And I just whispered like, well, if Argentina wins, I'm happy for my mother because I was, like, and they're very honest and hard giving with the way they are. So and after just more the afternoon because we really love each other at work. Bring sandwiches to me, and we share the drama as well, watching the drop. So we have this togetherness. And Tina said, "You're from both," so you win anyways. And I was no, because it's just I live here and I really want England to win. So this is also part of a game that we're sharing in an energy field. So after this took time, I knew how to go through all this because I am Spanish looking and everything, and the way I talk and just very loudy, and also Venezuelan. So, uh, say I'm Venezuelan when the tourists will ask where are you from, and they will look at me like and sometimes I say I'm Spanish Venezuelan, and just to be sure, normally I say I'm Venezuelan always. When the earthquake was trying not to talk about it, that I was Venezuelan. But they're tourists, they all come from around the world, and I asked them also where they're from. So it's a sympathetic thing about our store that we have. We're very sensitive and kind and sincere, which I love. The girls Linda Twinkle and Linda, Tina, especially the Karen too. It's just lovely to think about them. Um, and well, the manager at times, there are moments where, you know, like a wave that comes in and out as the moon is with the manager. Um, Linda says, I don't like Messi. And she just moved around. She was very sincere. So I noted down. I was like, I respect that. So I didn't say anything. It was just an energetical movement of honesty. And we all have our relationship and unity and differences. So I was like, well, go for Spain, and I'm if Spain wins, I would love for Spain to win, but I didn't say it because it's not what you would talk about at work, and just a little bit, not too much. And then this guy, sure, of Spanish, it's really taken very seriously their football. So, and I was like, but you're Spanish against for Spain, no? Like you're like, where are you from? Because I couldn't, maybe because some countries go for teams that they don't have a football team, right? And so I am English because Argentina, but the Argentina did to England. So I was really like, it was trying to settle in my mind, like, wow, like, like I know we share a lot because of the beach and the parties, and we're Europe, but the English were just against Argentina. That's all. But it gave more fuel to Spanish people also. Well, Spanish looking at Trump saying that now Spain had the obligation to fight for England as well. Not just because the king was there and they also have a monarchy, but because they would not allow, they had nothing to do. The Trump said, but he's a player and he just likes to throw the ball and to see what happens. To, like, oh, we'll put the Falcro. This is ridiculous, all right? That's not how politics works. But it's just funny. It's funny, and Trump is a lot of fun if you really get to see his brilliance with the show, and wanting to enjoy life to his fullest. He will move away when they push him to move, but he wants to enjoy. This is a good thing about old age, yeah, that you want to enjoy every second of your life. There is no other moment but this moment, and it is good. It is good to teach as well how to parade yourself before the cameras and enjoy. He wanted to put his hand in the World Cup to give it to the victors. That's what Hero does with the heroes. So we see all the meaning of what is to be a leader through not just through God and Jesus, of course, that shows more compassion to say sorry, to surrender. What Jesus did all around the world with all his spirit of Christianity. They didn't stay there fighting other people. They went out there to conquer, celebrate life. The kingdom is within. the promised lands. It's like the others kept fighting for 2,000 years, and the Christian spirit just have all these Christians who are engineers, inventors, players, seducers, conquerors, all this sort of Christian like experience and obsessive to move on. That was the movement. If you see after 2,000 years the movement of the mapping, how what here and there, why? For good and bad. We have also to dig into the Native American spirit and enjoy the realms they share from their spiritual animals, the way they see the world with their values and the powers they have. Because we might be tracing a map that's from the real world, but at the same time, might be talking about the multiverse map behind the scenes. I don't know how it's gonna happen. The fun thing is that we're here together. We're open minded to see new ideas come up. Our teenagers are there to be seen. If you really look at it, we cannot do it. We are too rotten and egocentric, or want to bring what, like even the bishop talking with Vadens. He should talk with every political party as well, right? The bishop baron, taking it to like open the hearts of the left party as well. It's pro-life, how important it is, how children are so cool. Like, what are you gonna do if you like to be more creative, just loving, and violent? Go to virtual reality, go experience other genders in first person, and come back to love yourself as you are. Without any friction, whatever your mommy and daddy was, that's their life. That's when I see some girls like the daughter of Jesus. They need to experience their femininity and different relationships and understand other codes, other characters, to really understand the beauty of loving themselves as they are through all the characters. Because it's an aberration to just get stuck in character, right? You have this beautiful body that has everything for you, and you can have universal love from a higher, 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 and much more multiplying experience, while at the same time keeping the best of yourself as it is to. And I mean, for a long life, yeah, you need all your circuits to flow as they are. And you can design yourself, of course, be creative. The there are girls, boys, there's sort of talent that is also multi talented as well. It's really hard to see your mother embracing female power and her relationships. All many artists have a lot of relationships, so there's nothing wrong to have many relations. It's a different life, but sometimes a girl might see other things. They just only want her for sex, and then she's just more in the sexual energy, not in the loving energy. But artists are very sexual. People that do sports as well, so you have other tendencies also to explore human nature and the matter of life. And dark emotions come as well, and a lot of creativity. The more creative you are, the more problems you create. So it doesn't matter what you do. You can be with the same relationship, it's going to happen as well, because you have more relationships with people and there is more problems as well with your relationship and the world as well. Either way, pick and choose. So it has nothing to be do with promiscuity or having a lot of relationships or having consent. There are a lot of relations when you have a lot of power. So there are different stages of how you relate. So of course we can see this through the multiverse. I don't like girls becoming wanting to be boys because they don't like to be treated as what they see online or what they see, like they see other things. Yeah, these girls are normally mm, some girls become very fat, they don't want to be touched. So but this their protections be touched or be invaded in their body, so they don't want to be treated like that from just body perspective. So physical. There are many response to how we relate. There are many feminities as well, and many forms of understanding masculinity, and so many characters as well to understand the beauty of human nature. And when I see the Elliot playing the role of a warrior Achilles, so this is a canon character, not just that's been characterized for what it is. This is a canon character that is written from history. Alright. So let's say this is a movie for another universe, all right? For those who like to enjoy that, and that's it. It's just you have different universes that have different rules. That's it. They can rewrite history, change sexes, say children enjoy sex, anything. All right, be careful. This is another universe. When you just open the portal and see that's another universe with other rules. All right, and we'll see that in the mapping as well. Well, these places in the world have these beliefs, and they're moving in this way, and they're going to also do surgeries to create themselves other forms of beings away from this way of being. That's not going to be man or woman. They're going to be like these people that are from Star Wars and create their own race, and just put pieces of biological things because they need to be. They need a collective group to feel they are, because they're not allowed to be from other people being so much or thinking that's being, but they don't want to be that. They want to be something else from what they see in their surrounding. Places like California, places like I love Canada very much. You have, or be normal as everyone or just be a freak. So you only have two choices in certain places because they're also isolated from the world. Unless you go to Mexico for the beach and that's it. Arizona's not much of a difference. So you get to study the thematic of how the world moves around you, but doesn't mean the world's like that. It's very shortage in form of intelligence to think the university is like that. It's gonna teach you to be like that, where you wanna be, what you see online, what's their algorithm. The world is like that you think the world is like that. What it was Ibiza today is not what is Ibiza. Um, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, is not the same. Or in India, People were there from around the world, and now going to meditate. You only have this life right now to experience and celebrate. What's the meaning of dancing and celebrate life? And each generation brings their own tendency, culture, counter culture, underground culture, their own cult, to their own tribe, the reason to be the way they are, away from their parents, of course, to mark their difference. So sometimes can be suggested, or sometimes it's because my parents were asked to have freedom, my parents. Be able to distinguish, but at the same time, just, in the search of happiness as well, in their own cast, what this life is for in society. What is society? What are you for society? What are we to God? What is a spiritual? What is in another spiritual? Well, we'll see for the mapping. How is it going to the teenagers in the world? There's a lot of ideas coming up. There is a lot of togetherness coming up as well. For the inspiration to see, are we going to start alone and be ahead, or invite others? Questions. I love to imagine, all right? So I have free imagination. That's why I'm here with no one around me. Um, I forgot what I had such a great joke this morning. I was, yeah, great. That's it. And I've been with artificial intelligence, and I forgot it. It might come up. It might come up later, another day. It's just because I expand too much. So even if you are detecting, this is for UK, and well, welcome to the new Prime Minister. It's very interesting to see the codes and how he's going to inspire teenagers. This was um, this was. I have my agenda there that's been inspired for 5 years. So this was inspired by the people of the Queen, and in honor to the people, the Queen Elizabeth. What do you see here? Yeah, and she pressed on her last jubilee, and the people of the Queen created a huge tree with lights, where she pressed a light, and it was like a DNA light started to come out to turn the tree of the lights. And then I saw like the world. Yes, we are a family tree. The world. This is so everyone with the light putting there what they need, who they are, and we can see what they need. And there is another person that I didn't know, thanks to artificial intelligence, that finds me information I was not asking. And he's a professor who has passed away and already has work about the connection of mapping through the psychological mapping of why some cities are poor, or the conditioning of how the collective consciousness works as an entity to help socially as well in all its not dimensions but in its needs, yeah, as an energy field as well. And that is for some, maybe not for all, yeah, but for those who like to. It's just very interesting to see how would you do, because when the children ask for places with professors and do a tour to study mapping, it's very interesting to understand that they are just asking to have an appointment with the boss to talk about redirecting the taxes to organizations, and what organizations. So they will have to trace all the organizations from the boroughs they're working and get to pick the boroughs. I think it's interesting to pick. What happens if you give a time where they pick the boroughs? Yeah, who would pick the most poor? It's just interesting to also see what the professors will ask them to that they might like to do. If they like to go and pick samples of the earth. All right. The free. I mean, some places you don't need to do that work, but you might to at least get to color the how is that earth there, if it's good soil or it's rocky or there's stones, to be able to analyze that. What is what we're working with reality, so this is that, and just to note and get two spaces to that, because there's a lot of land that belongs to the government as well, and more organizations to create with this money. What can they do together in these places, or this, you have all these trees, more community where people can talk about these things and ideas they can do just to promote and dance and just get some chill up music or DJ, and for teenagers to have a healthier life of conversation or adventure. What is mapping, what is where their ancestors come from, what designs they like from their culture, all the things that you might have neighborhood migrants. It's not to integrate them, but also to learn from their parents what they like, or science fiction questions of their own generations, because they are going to be in outer space, where they like something a little more of their generation, whatever they like, want to be able to catalyze. But it is the brain that is getting activated from 13-year-old. It's getting activated to note data, to note what is what, note what is that what, to exercise their freedom of expression, what design, questions, to be able to brainstorm and delegate. I think that's, I've always thought that's one of the most important things. That, like, when I was listening to these boring teachers in school, and I was like, I don't care about who met who in history because of the king and the prince and the, like all these families, because it married this and of this. And we had to just remember the names and the years. And I was questioned many times, like, why are you looking at the spider nets? ¿Qué miras a las musarañas? In the school of Santa María de los Rosales, ahí, Orlando, España, en Madrid, en Aravaca. I was just look at them like, what would I do just to get rid out of you, right? Like, really, like, what are you teaching me? We're not never gonna make a better world, but only a few people. Yeah, just really. I mean, just because I was in the school of the prince of Spain, but any prince and king knows that you cannot do it yourself alone, right? But in the eyes of a child, it's just, I would just walk in the window, and all the girls, the Philip, because he was blonde with curls. He looked like the little prince from the book of France, and walking. And the teachers, everybody in love. The boys would just also come to look at the prince, because everybody was just looking when he would come. And that makes us also feel special as well. I was not very happy because they all go, so then I would just go the last. Yeah, I look at the prince. He was maybe 3 years older, or I don't remember if 5. I don't remember, but I know he left before. I was 6 years there. The year 81 to the year 87. So I don't remember. So he left 2 years earlier, 3 years before. I remember how compelling it was to see him being pat by the shoulder from the professor, or a coach of sports, a big man. And I was, look, he's the last running. I'm sorry to say this, but he's the last running, and he gets a pat on the shoulder because he's the Prince of Spain. And they were like, oh, like, of course, like, like, it's like, yeah, but the guys that are really, they're running so hard. Well, at least, at least he's running, he's running with all the others as well. And I was like, yeah, it's true. He could just be lazy and say others can run for me. I don't need to run. So he had his pace. So then I learned that they have their pace. They don't need to rush like rats. They have their rhythm, and everything goes around them. So you learn these things in the School of the Prince. They should teach this in every school. You should go to the source. Understand that we're all equal, but some people have the privilege to pay attention to their generation. Of course, one of the members of the royal family has been a role player. On gossips. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Look at me, I'm vanishing. So aside from all this, so how companies can redirect taxes, because they will save money if they give it directly to organizations. They will have tax return. So if you have 40% tax return, I mean, there are different rules on different parts of the world. But it will give you a joy to know you're involved with this organization as well. So, for example, is teaching children to distinguish metals and to keep the environment safe at the same time, and how to create better jobs and invest on machines so children don't have to look for these metals in the earth, and to study what's needed. Because if you're gonna be a scientist, but you have to find a formula, but the world needs this. You gotta study what the world needs. If you need love, then question yourself, what is love, right? Study what's love. What is just to feel love for no reason. To love your teachers, they ask you questions, and you say, well, yellow, I will just have my tongue with more yellow colors and these architectures and God knows what the teenagers will be end up imagining. Aside from all this, we'll have to. I would like to brainstorm on what is to note uh, when you suspect something, because you will have to cut a lot of fraudulent, and then this is just sent to another office. But it's interesting, like, oh, put a face. The secretary put a face. Just note that. Note. Note for yourself. This is not about taxing people more. This is they're gonna get tax returns. So being involved and in love with what you represent as well, and getting to learn from the kids as well, because they can return you back with more information. For example, what better machines are there. The freedom of expression has, of course, very important detection of what is what. So imagine a generation learning that is transparency, accepting what is what, and what can you create out of it? It's that creative, right? So distinguish manipulation from creation, having all the infinite space to be creative. Ah, please give me a break. So we're starting now. Those countries in conflict will be shown as well. So we have already a lot of creativity to play with and see what teenagers say for new forms of politics, what to do. What would you do in this as a new political realms so they stop these wars? Or, like I will have the highest class of Argentinians in the Falkland Islands to have access, and the British as well. I have a long line of families who are noble. And maybe one is mischievous and as Pinocchio came out of the road. Maybe discover something else, I wanted to discover something else that was absolutely wrong, but, it's human nature. We can learn healing as well, transformation, instead of casting away people to hell and creating more evil, more poverty, and more work and misery. We are Christians. Jews also believe in giving to the people in their society in need. 10% they do have, because I remember a Jew friend I had in New York City that told me that the because it is good karma, something like that. Good luck percentage. But I think government can be very boring if they come to. I remember Venezuela, they came to our house, like the new government of Chavez, make a brigade from the military with a new uniform and coming from door to door to the rich neighborhoods, and to get all this money from taxes, but they look like a ghetto. So they would negotiate to. So it was all corrupted, of course, because you could not trace it well. I think my mother just gave them $100,000 so they don't ask for more and leave them alone and give them cash. But that she was thought to do that from her clients, and that's why also when my father was murdered, thought that it would be better that it's seen on the map. Because I always told my mother it's better you make an organization so you don't have to pay taxes, and you can also get help from government. She was like, and she wants her money for herself. So she did invested in a bank in Miami, for her and my sister. And I worked for 10 years for free as well. So when they teach you to work for unconditional love, and then you have been betrayed and left alone, is like the story of my life. Sometimes we can change our own psychological way of mapping ourselves throughout the world around us as well. And not to heal, but to understand that sometimes we need an intervention. All right. So these are plays that you can perform, as for sometimes you cannot do certain things yourself. You need an intervention from another person, or a robot, or a cyborg. God, or divine intervention to get me out of here and to get my kids. Alice and Sane will help me to just really get my children from the foster family in Canada. I really have like another part of my nerve system is part of my mind has mental illness and refuses to go out. And out there, it's just a crazy world. Just relax here for a while and enjoy your little space after everything you've gone through, all these crazy people. That, of course, you will have compassion and understanding, but it's no more for that now. I think being selfish and having some healthy narcissistic traits is very important. I'm just creating a character. I'm not the way you think I am. It's just what I wanna bring an emotion towards that perspective and sounds because it's funny. And I like to have fun. So don't take me seriously and think by yourself. I said that I learned that from Osho. So I've learned from a lot of people as well, having my own inventions. But most has been learned, and it just a little more. Anyone can do that. That's not a big deal. The most beautiful is to see others doing it. And when I was a girl in India and just playing flute while Osho was speaking, when I was 13, because I still played the flute and I didn't really want to learn English at the time. I just wanted to enjoy the non-logical, non-knowledge. So I've been always my world, and just the tunes was a cascade made from the Japanese, made by hand, the rock, a huge cascade, well, huge, and will go through all the ashram, aside the white marble floors in the outdoors. And I would sit up in a rock and play flute while Osho was giving his discourse. And I remember imagining giggling. They were laughing about his discourse, but I was imagining he was talking about me and the future, where there will be many genius as well as me. I was playing the flute. I was just playing the flute uh, on the year 87. So we spent 6 months there. I will just carry my flute here on my belly pocket. I don't know how it was called then. It's just on the side. I used to play by the music of Pink Floyd, and my favorite was the song of A Leather Stair to Heaven. I think it was Led Zeppelin. That was incredible. I was just played on and walk, stand up to play, rewind, and go back and go to the sofa and play it again in Plaza de España. It was marvelous. My father started to show me the best music from his times on a personal level, and speaking me about them and why. So he said it's not just the music but the lyrics. So I didn't understand. I really had no idea what this song in particular said. But it was a masterpiece. I was like, wow, I was taken away without a stairways to heaven. Dun, 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 dun. No. Right now, I don't remember. Okay. So it is good to start from unreasonable basics to ask the teenagers, since their time was taken away in a lockdown, to how they see the world around them, and to note, express, and delegate. When I was in my boarding school in England, in Devon, and it was approved from the Ministry of Education when I was there. Later on, I was 14, 15. I was taught to learn through experience. That was thanks to a donation of a higher upper class who donated their, I don't know how you call that building, manor, their manor, and turned it to school for hippie rich kids and some others, which is parents wanted to live there and go to India. That was our boarding school. So we, the teenagers, would delegate, have tasks with the other children, and learn from the adults as well to delegate. We were taught the learning to delegate is very important, and we would change every week who delegates. Because we now have multimedia, and expression is very important to understand the fragility of freedom of expression, the dark side of how bad can turn expression and how good it can be as well. How productive or how bad can it be? If you end up, you can also end up killing each other with the right words, if that's what you want as the goal. So it is understandable too, also for teachers, because we have many teachers who wanted to write a book or will have extra time to be able to study on their own accord something else, have a bit more of free time, and to be alone and study. These teachers can also have their freedom of thought to investigate what we're doing stage by stage from a primal stage. That's the first generation of this globe map. an atlas, because I think these kids will get to study later on new branches of what they like to study. Because even psychology, will you see the mapping of psychology, at least to a certain extent, how it changes and heals or can get more traumatized again, and how other psychopaths can get profit out of it. Mm-hmm. You ruin worlds and get more migrants. That's known from the old times, all right? You come down to the category of a slave. It doesn't matter how prestigious you were in your country. That's known throughout history. You will have people you don't have to feed or teach from school or have doctors. You have grown up people ready to work. It's one of the best investment war or investing in the tech globe mob because it will multiply your money back. That's that's person that works in bank system, but is to have tools, machinery, and to be able to understand the importance of transparency. And there is no need to corrupt or change the tissue of reality unless you are doing something that is creative. Understanding that people can change the codes and the information and the data, but anyone can see that, hey, this is not green, is red, or, the soil is not rocky, you know, things like that. So, for all the fraudulent managements that people might get to note, even if they're teenagers, they might start learning to note character traits. And there is a long list of fraudulent, which Ramo should be a great teacher because he knows better than I think anyone. He got number one to be president of one of the most corrupted and violent countries in the world, thanks to their make believe imagination that they are the best. Like, or the, thanks to their make believe, right? Because if you make the world believe you are the best, just from movies. There are many Americans that think that there are not talented people around the world. Like this last boyfriend I had, I was like, yeah, sure. You produce the best music in the world, and only because he's never listened to music from around the world or live around the world, live around the world to enjoy and get to also understand the music, the joys that are lived through their talent. That's something I'm very proud of and would never dispute because you have to be there to understand, to be a culture person or universal. So it's not for everyone, I think. You cannot provide all the world mapping, of course. But there are some degrees of students that pick certain degrees. So looking at these degrees besides geography, sociology, psychology. Actually, those who pick mathematics as well for to do the calculus, because there is a calculus that needs to be solved, and it's fun to see which is the kid from around the world who's gonna get the calculus piece of a cake. Calculus, right? This word that comes from innocent minds that are fresh to say, oh wow, that will be like the treasure hunt. It will be easier to see it once you see it in the map. So when you have many layers of all the entities and values that you have in your town, you can make the calculus value of, for example, you might not have of these values, but you have of those values. You have values that are dancing. You have values that are people that are happier and healthier. Have values in the earth. Have values from trees that are 500 years old and jungles that are thousands and thousands and millions of years old. You have values of what metals could be shipped for space. You have values of intriguing minds that want to learn to detect what is what and have the right to note. So when they know how to address to a certain office and they feel protected, you are having a universal system that's, for example, protecting the Amazons without having to have people that don't know how to administrate. Because how can you give all this money to people that don't know how to administrate? You cannot give so much money and power to people that don't know how to administrate, but you might have people that are universal and are teaching are learning together how to map and send data. We have people that have been killed in the Amazon. It's easier than trusting anyone who enters there. But you do have, and I do know because I am from Venezuela. You have, I'm not gonna say the brands, but they go there for diamonds and gold, right? Most famous brands. But we can help to make it on a healthier way. Yeah, we have a lot of prostitutes in the south of Venezuela, on the border of Brazil. It's not Brazil, but also in Brazil. And we have a lot to understand that it is beautiful also to have farms in Europe and be in contact with animals. I'm not really a promoter of eating meat from animals, of course. So all these wars about economy have to stop, and Trump is fortunately a person that has solutions for himself, but it's not working. Those ways are obsolete now. He needs people that are a bit more open minded around him. So the problem with these tech titans from the Silicon Valley that started to create this cult for the crypto money and started to say online, all of them are in X, all right? That used to be Twitter. And Elon Musk belongs to this team. But later on, started politicians to enter there. I was okay, keep polite and carry on, do your business there until you will be able to dismantle, because you have to be very polite to make your way up to all this money and position to be invested on. Well, that's what I thought. You have your inner thoughts, right? Look at how many people have their inner thoughts around the world. What are they thinking of? They already know, the world knows that there is no decentralized. They were living on a fantasy. I've been living on a fantasy for 20 years, but I am more pragmatic than these people, all right? I know it's a fantasy, and I know it's not, right? So I need a person that's professional in fantasies. to let you know what's real. So, because I'm not really interested on people's material life, but probably they they just take a piece out of it with me a little bit, and I'm just an observer. So it doesn't matter how much you take against to use it against. Yeah. Generosity keeps on rolling for you to understand what's a higher supremacy of intelligence over you, through you, and to those, and back to you as well. Trying to control and manipulate internet systems and calling people that are egocentric that want to take your business away. This is an idea that a few has done. Okay, so you have investors that invest in you, and they come from different sources. Even though you have 300 sources and a few top overall, you must understand there are other people that think on another level, and they're global, all right? So Venezuela, my thing for Venezuela, has always think globally, because I can tell you as a Venezuelan, all right? Because I don't want to judge, speak on behalf of other countries. So Venezuela thinks globally, and I can tell you from my father, because he's been behind the reason for to unite the countries of the OPEC, Russia, and China against all these wars from United States, basically. There are tendencies of beliefs against imperialism and that, but um, I am against that, because I could understand the Venezuela has thought globally. I'm just telling you the people that sit on the positions of power, whatever they are with or against, right? So there are different presidents, there are different systems of belief away from what you might think behind the scenes, and they might want to take it on another direction, like hating people. But my father didn't want to listen to me and my mother, so here's what we got. And that's what he got. He got killed. I said, well, at least it's like, no, all the poor people hating anyone who was a little more. Because listening to the hatred of Chavez, so it's very dangerous, yeah? But my own father had that as well, that resentment. And he would be very political with my mother, because she was the money maker, and my father was a political person. You have to grow with a person like my father to understand they are double. But you have to really mature when you're in your 30s. Just when you grow up seeing your father as a noble, trustful person all your life, an honorable person of the world that works with reality and the truth. And I've been always being very suspicious, but I've been trying to think differently. So my father will look back at me like, one day you will know. But he was plotting his own revenge and writing about that. Like, he will look back and like, you cannot understand now what I'm writing about. The look. But I could see that he had another act in our house, because my mother was the moneymaker in the house of the city. But, well, let's just say that my father had times where he had a lot of wealth and he had more fame, and I could see the some point in my life the stretch of powers from both, where they had power trips against each other on a silent level, right? This is any child can see that, even if they don't talk about it, but you can see it in your silence even when you're far away, that they would wish each other bad so they remember them. They were the best because the other one did not appreciate. I am better. How my worth. But wishing the other, you know, you will suffer to appreciate me because I will have more than you. So I have seen both having, this is a very, very different jealousy and envy, both. Because you had children, you had values that you shared through intimacy and your spirit, the way you think, your your glorious state with God, what brings you together, because you make your own philosophies as well, what brings you together, or society when you're on that level, right? If you just have an employee mentality, sales marketing yourself to be, you might just have publicity mentality. Uh, so you can even have a divine war between your parents. That silence. So they they wish freedom, but at the same time they love each other and they were loyal and they were powerful with their own creation. So you can understand that children are very, very smart and they already can see so much. They might not be as mature as to tell about it and correlate it in words, but they already know everything behind the scenes. They can just learn to note what is what, express themselves. There is so much data in mapping, I mean, in the real world. Numbers, finance, to talk about finance values, to bring a loop locally and internationally. So it's very beautiful also to get to enjoy what the teachers and the masters say. I mean, in Eton, they're masters. I don't call them peaks. I don't know. I don't know how they call them. So, United States, you have a lot of people that are Afro-American. That's gold mine. In Venezuela and Brazil, mainly. Colombia, a little bit. Of course, Guyana and many parts of the Caribbean. Not like Mexico. And well, you will see through the mapping and as the culture is, and more dancing or less. The music changes, as in Cuba's pure salsa and beautiful music that comes from the African land, and more romantic and loving as well. Throughout the mixture of races in South America has been 500 years. North America, not Canada, started to mix from the hippie times in a greater volume. So it's just now a few. No? So because the Spanish woman didn't want to go to South America, it's not that the Spanish men or the Spanish people were wanted to, you know, mingle. Is that they didn't have other women. The woman didn't want to be kidnapped by the pirates. Look at all, just explaining, all right? Shit happens for good and bad. So you have these beautiful stories around the world what compose cultures and values. I will always say to my mom, we have other values in Venezuela. You cannot measure the values we have now. You cannot pay these values. You can only have them in Venezuela. You can only see it by living in here in Venezuela. You're gonna ruin your life going to Spain. Not just frying your own eggs, but like what are you gonna do in Europe? Like my father would say, so boring. And you can have Ibiza, go to India, but that's just changing through the times. Imagine there's no tourism in the near future, and people like to build their mansion into a village and travel through other intellectual and discovery forms through green energy. So that will be like, let's say, more established in 10 years. I will be 62 years old, 63, 62. I think I'm 52 years, 2 years old. And it's beautiful to understand that we are another generation. It would be nice that somebody talks for me and I just can go out and recover. Some people believe a lot in projection, that you have to speak in the present to believe this, but I seriously went through a lot of violence in my life. And I was today talking with Gemini. I wanted to enter into critical thinking after watching a documentary from Netflix. Many. I was watching a lot. I love detectives. I love the documentaries when they talk. I really love to listen to them and their pain. And they feel important, but it's something that other people cannot understand. But they really put their mind. You go crazy. You have to know that you go crazy when you go into investigation. You enter terrains that are uncertain, and you have to get all this data that you don't know if it is or it's not. So this is what helped me understand that we also need to put data that is when you're mapping of mysterious activities like immigration, working illegal, people that are being abused by their rights, but are living from the government, but are getting paid. They can get better payment, actually. It's just the way people think. The map is in your mind. So how you share values. This is a conversation as well. We're seeing it from children and their teachers, masters. You don't like to see them as people that are bullying or telling them what to do. Or, you come here and listen to me and do as I say. I was like, wow. When I was watching the coach from France doing the documentary, he's so narcissist. He's even doing the documentary. But that's the beauty of narcissists that are arrogant to show how they are. Because the and he would say when I read the letter, he had no mistakes. I couldn't believe this was made from a football player. But he was racist himself, not classist. So I could understand the nobody likes to be treated like that because you are playing, doesn't matter. All the French players could feel that on their skin, doesn't matter. And sometimes it's stressful when you gotta delegate yourself alone. So it's good to allow others to delegate and go back to position and just lower your head as well. That's what they thought it's in the boarding school in England in Devon. It was called Caution School. Doesn't exist now. So I like you to know that all this been learned, right? From many people that are also genius and have been there before me. So I would love to name the later on. And I have to work, but I would like other people to work the globe atlas, but I guess they will do code, city code, uh, different ideas for the prime minister. So I don't think it's fair because this was born from admiration to the Queen Elizabeth and to honor George, because also Prince William has been doing Earthshot and is very meaningful for the world and United Nations. And he has the connection throughout his fellow friends and leaders from around the world, wherever they are titled. You can see the, you know, there's togetherness, and there's people that want to own the world, of course, like Donald Trump, but at the same time, he gets used to all the, where we say, is he, what does his people say? What is his name? I forgot. Mario? Mario Bros. I'm sorry. I just sometimes I can be very bright, but when I don't, my mother would always say, "You don't have memory when you're not interested on." And I would be like, "Thank you, mother." 'Cause I would go just totally blank in class and forget everything. I could just my mind could not compute, couldn't remember anything. My hands would sweat. My mother knew me very well, and she said, "I'm still here." So, well, I'm just going to pack everything and maybe find a place to put the books. I would love to be here, but I have to be with my mother. So, I just really love this desk, things like that. Uh, um, things I build up. The. I love to have my home, to have my kids, of course. Um, I'm not a good woman for any man, to be honest, because I just love to sleep. I always love to sleep. I never like to have anyone's second thoughts because I'm sleeping, relaxing. So I've always loved sleeping. I had a lot of problems from my nannies and my mother. Um, always convincing me, look, we've gone to theater and how good it is. Or we're going. Yes, I like to go out, but I like to go out and, but um, I'm not a very good woman to be with, so I'm very good at work and following a structure and duties. I can be a good family member, but my family was very free, so we would understand each other in silence and let others be as well. You like to work. If you don't work, you don't work. But always we were guided as well. So I love to roleplay, but I need privacy, of course, and I don't want any tech titans stealing any ideas or people reading things and taking it a wrong place because they're just characters, or people analyzing or just making jokes. So they're more they share more intimacy of being together, making a prank, and they will just be hacking until the end of the days, until they die. Or they do a job parallel to my life and my reality. So I deserve it, and I will make another story for that. There is a lot of conflict within characters that think to belong to their own sphere, and they just like to watch. Feel like in the watching. So there has been for many years. All right, I just want to let you know that I know stories of spies also from my mother, who was in New York City. I won't talk about it, of course. That's a secret of wars. It's a secret of wars. You know your history. So my mom was not a spy, but you know there have been spies in my mother's life, and they started wiring voice and then filming. So there's been always inner circles where they share certain information and have traced people and treated them as crazy to see let's see how until how long they run. So I'm very this first time I'm telling you that I'm very aware of the characters that are like players of chess that are being studied. They're spies from Russia, but they're Americans, but from Russian background, and they're being treated as crazy actually because they have double nationality and inner thought that is from different backgrounds that had historical wars. So they just share information and feel superior for that. Certain people in this world have been shared as the Truman Show or characters and being watched until when. So that brings them more together as well. But what do you say? There's nothing they couldn't do with them. They just initially just needed to know if they were plotting against government. That's it. What information they can bring here and there, because they would talk more with this person. They would wire there. I've only asked to because I've role played with some people like children do, and I started role playing in the boarding school in England, but not the boys would do it. Javi and the German guys would use Dungeons and Dragons. So from an early age, I started to understand what's role play already. From my boarding school in England, there's been also books where you pick a chapter and you make your own decision. There's also been letters. There has been all sorts of communication. I'd like you to know throughout the ages. And people behind it just watching as you do. Oh, you might think what I'm doing in here, I'm just getting paid. I want to be a good coach for my team, and I just want them to win and feel that they have trust with me. I want to be the best coach for them to earn their trust from me because they've been playing very good. And, I can have a critic, I can understand, but that's the way we made it. Perhaps you feel proud because you need a little push or support on our perspective, and you feel part of the team, but at the same time, has a duality. So it's like a family that becomes greater. So you know how teams can open up from new players that come from other parts of the world, but at the same time, you're also from another part of the world. But this is England. And how people are in Germany is very different. I grew up with half Germans as well. We're touching here sensitive territory. That's the territory of England, to honor England through the press and its prime minister and its coach of England, to feel honored by the narrative. I know scandal is number one for journalists from my father, but make it fun. Make it fun. So how does it feel to be a champion? So, people also feel like champions. We all have died and got renewed when they won the bronze medal. So I really love the memes as well that were shared in X. And I love Argentina as well as losers, as winners and as losers. This is really like, well, that's what happened, right? The Spanish guy, after winning, just went there to trick one of them, and he was feeling very bad because they lost, and they just all started flipping out. But it was actually the Spanish who turned the fire on and tricked them to become violent. So they're funny things, they're players. It's good to study the testosterone on man and psychologically. Just goes to the ball, right? It's hard. It's hard because they want to, as Donald Trump does. I do that because I'm a player. But it's fun. It's fun to see that all that is just a game. It's not who you are. People want to minimize you. You want to minimize others. But criticizing and trying to also break through to see the people in need. I also like to share, exchange values, learn to talk what is what, get to feel more, expands the emotional movements, because everything that has motion is burning this energy. So if you are moving your body, your brain, you are moving through silence. It's not contemplating, Because contemplating already has different form of movement in the mind. It's already going to other distinctions of being present as a witness. So the less effort you put to want and to see, the more comes to you naturally without looking for. Because you're just witnessing. And it's beautiful to allow others to experience and share and get to make their own decisions. And why maybe these places have not been picked as well. Why would many people pick to do this? Instead of having someone telling you what to do, how could be rearranged? Not through boroughs, because there are rich boroughs and poor boroughs where we have immigration, but this is not to invite immigration, and it's good to respect the tissue of society as well for each culture, which is very important. Something that the United States, some believers there wanted to globalize and break all the cultures, but these were uncultured people. They have not tasted the wonders of the world or play in the multiverse. So the multiverse has all the groups are as such in each verse, and each verse is part of a multiverse. So you understand the language. The Then we have some mix in this generation because of immigration. But it's good to understand groups. We can heighten human consciousness by allowing human consciousness to expand through its space and movement. This thing which is on timing of accords in creation. But these are different dynamics in sports that have more scores to those who are more creative and share those values, understanding different values. So that which is universal doesn't mean that everyone has to be equal. That's the beauty of understanding universal value, where there are some laws that cannot be changed through time. Respects and what's heavy, what's light, sort of things. Yeah. Um, in this day to day, for the word of movement, has to listen to so many hours, anyways. Maybe for another day, the synonymous. We can just, I can just talk about the 5 synonymous from motion. That's movement above. In motion, that's above, a little lower than movement. Below is gesture, that motion, that gesture. And it has gesture on the other side, but they are more synonymous from gesture from the both sides. Gesture has around 5 and 5 more words. Below is proposal. So below is proposal, but above is movement. Because it's already moving, it's higher. is a higher word of a synonymous. It means the same, but it's already moving. That motion. So, well, motion is a word that's more scientific and is used in court and in more degrees. As emotion can be for the arts. I wish you the best. We'll read the other words. I can read that today. It's beautiful to understand the movement that you have created as we get to digest what happened on the World Cup, what put us together, what separated us, and that zigzagging as well, because we are and we're not. But this happens throughout everything, right? A couple can be, and then they're not. When one goes to the supermarket and the other one goes to watch football, they're together, and then they are not together. So that motion is what defines your togetherness. And when you return, so it's like understanding other forms of being beyond your town and culture as well. From the opposite sex and everything that's opposite or different. So you don't have to try every culture or live in every part of the world. This is just for a few people that might pick at the very end to do a mansion into a village after their 7 years. And maybe they like to pick music. Yeah. They want to pick music and also do a mansion into a village and go back to their normal job. This is a form of saving some money with your partner, with a normal job as well, eventually, where you can as well say, well, we can also do it because we can also invest £3,000, £5,000 and start with a little terrain to creating this spot of the world that we've talked about so many years while investing, saving this money. And we can also have a credit because they will know that we're managers already. We became in our store or just with a level of how you call the other ones that are lower. I always joke around about these titles, but they do have a bit of higher degree when it comes to uh, managing. So what seems very easy and common, it makes a lot of sense if you're going to manage to help a supervisor to help certain duties to create a mansion into a village in some part of the world. So if you love to do that and feel entitled to do so, return to your normal job to keep that credit flowing and that conversation, not just with you alone, but other people that you will have a casting to find out, because they've studied for it, they work for that. Or they might help you online as well. So it's good to talk about it as well. The If we get to a point where there's no problems in the future, really, so as in your country and the other country as well, you will be very proud of enjoying this generation. That's the giggling that I was feeling when I was playing flute to Osho, that people would be just giggling of making a better world and just on their own creativity. More or less is allowing people to be their highest form being as God wills it. Um, every king, every queen is Victoria. Every leader that has been in your world, in your part of the world, will be proud of you. The part of the mapping, of understanding your values, of having stock, valuing what you have. Other people can show you how beautiful it is just to see the sunset in Africa, where there's no noise. They also like to celebrate life, bring the best out of them without having to stop being who they are. We also need to return to our wilderness and honor the youth. So it is good to note. So I'll just be working on that. I love brainstorming. Um, I don't want to risk anymore, but I would just really love to know that my children are well and that I am being paid to have my values as a mother and a working person. And I don't have to see you again, or I don't have to talk about this anymore, but know that my life is great with my children and my mother. And I don't have to follow your rules. I have, as you've noticed, delete and block all those videos. I was trying to have a conversation there because at least they're communicating, but it's not healthy. That's not the way. I can understand the nature of these people. So they belong to United States, and I can see the communication. So they have to stop, right? You have to stop. You're gonna be dismantled. I could put my energy on that to trace your algorithm, even if you own it, even if you own your agency. Whatever person you want to target to try to manipulate their mind, or just it's obsolete. That's not the way to communicate with people. So, in one way, it's like they want to feel useful because they're being given that job to do. And they are also sharing their own words of the week now through artificial intelligence as well. So you will start noticing these words that appear also in the narratives. That is doesn't come from me, but from them. This comes from myself, the word of the week. Um, so they're using me and they're using you, and probably, hopefully, when they all this stops, probably stopped already, I will sense that it stopped. Oh, the entertainment is to make you feel you're important or you're doing something good. So they use people that are idealists but they know very well that there are bad people out there with malice that exist. So if you want to place a new president, you better support each other to know who would you support to be the next president of the United States of America. As influencers, that's something that you must reunite together. And I remember Nick Fuentes can be very back and forth, but he has a brilliant mind because he goes crazy. So you got better ideas. And he said once we have to move to the left to later vote to the right because the right is not going to change. So you could all maybe make Candace Owens become president for the left, but she will have to talk about how we should make her politics because she will totally destroy many beliefs from the left. Kamala is not very well. She's being supported from her followers. I mean, the people she supported. But you have to enter in a political arena to outsmart the competition because they want to sell bands and continue with their old tactics. They wanted to manipulate people that they're Americans and investing in America to, most probably you will save America from their own fraudulent beliefs because they are right now hurting each other for a future that is coming with them or without them. It's probably with them because they also love the world and they might understand that Bill Gates, no. He likes the level of manipulation he has acquired. He can understand the mathematics, but it's not the way he likes to play. So he has changed it, and none of the role players have my formula, so that won't really make the multiverse happen. It's the formula itself makes the multiverse move. I can guarantee you that because when the people that are there to credit it, when I give it, they will testify that that's how it works after they know it. Because if it doesn't work, they will also testify. It cannot work. What you're saying doesn't, but they will see that's within me. It's not on a computer. I don't write it anywhere. So everything that's been corrupted might continue to be corrupted, and you might continue in your fantasy influencer important role, making the news and being totally handsome and bright and supporting each other or trying to make a better world. Oh, I'm part of the talking with people of the government. Can talk with whoever I want now. Anyone like Joe Rogan and other influencers respecting Joe Rogan and sort of like, hey, people want to come and talk. So, but at the same time, you're being fucking corrupted, hiding the FC files and corrupting, allowing all the corruption to keep moving, right? Because that's what you want, your position. So you start to put people more like, hey, like, until when are you going to follow this? Give room to this. When they're killing people. So the investors from all investors that money, some people say are the Jews, or circle of investors that are also different offices that operate on their own independent intelligence and have nothing to do with bankers or others. They just want their money by supporting, for example, young political leaders, as with Turning Point. They supported this to be able to not control the narrative, but create new leaders, turn the point against each other all the time, to keep you fighting, believing you can do it. Yeah, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to promote you to ruin your life fighting the same way I seen my father. So you must be strong together and think together. What are you doing? Prepare the ground. So when you push your cards in the air, that's what you're playing. And you're being double what you're playing as well. You're giving room for people to express themselves. And you will give them the hard questions, but still have a feet here and a feet there. Then you're playing like the river Styx. Just flow between the hells and heavens and the shores. Keep flowing. But at the end, you will support or not a cause. How much votes Joe Rogan got for Donald Trump? Mainly because they were doing to the kids all this. They're still trying to put these laws behind the scenes to teach children. They can change their sex and putting them these things in the books in Europe. They're still pushing, yeah. Like the people in oil, they're still pushing and we want oil, want to invest in oil. They're stealing from Venezuela. That was meant to, what if they have their own refinery? Cheaper oil, better oil. Because America makes money by putting the refinery in United States. So everything that Europe is helping to mediate, then they will have to pay double oil. Was their mediation? Let Venezuelan oil free. So it was supposed to have their own, just fix their own refineries of oil. It will be less expensive than sending the oil to America, and then the Americans refine the oil and then they send this oil to Europe. So all this is for Donald Trump to sell Venezuelan oil more expensive than the oil from Iran. You have to think in terms of oil. I grew up with all this, with my father shouting the gallons of oil and its price now here and there. And this, I don't have my mind for those mathematics. I just grew up wishing not to be like him. That was the problem with him. But it's very easy for me to tell you about how some people move on their investors. So Trump had these investors from Texas that are oil companies, of course. He had a lot of investors. He had to say yes to everyone, yes to Elon Musk. You will have to put on a scale who put more money, Elon Musk or the oil investors, and take him to trial, because it was illegal to say yes to two people who are having different values but are investing on your presidency, and you're saying yes to both. So it's a fraudulent. You have to learn the world of business. My mother was like that. I was like, no, I don't want to be like you either. But I think both. We can understand really through the reality. What's going on, or how the world used to be. So you gotta think. Do you want to be a journalist forever or an influencer forever? Just having the same narrative. You will have to dismantle how these gun shooters, what they're watching on their screens. You need a group of hackers. I can go there and get another great script for how things happen on the hacking world. I don't want to show off. I would like Trump to be part of the tech globe map, of course. Feel triumphant with the Spanish team and explain his allies that, the cards have been played and you have better games to win. So what would the influencers do then? If all the leaders of the world can organize their countries without any external attacks. So I don't know why would United States would be investing on other countries to be right party, and then they say we have other people influencing us. It's like, well, maybe we're questioning internet and things like that, right? That are happening in our country. Why do we like? We're not gonna have serial killers here or going on mass shooting. You cannot. We are not Americans to be manipulated mentally because we don't have that level of. Yes, it does happen. It does happen. You can push down the matrix thought of the English spirit when you are putting the team of Norway and his player. Like if he's change a bit the mentality and the spirit. So no, I will be pretty much. I open a new a bank account. I also open a new bank account, but there was no money there. I opened a new X account to watch how the algorithm was for the World Cup. That's what I found. A lot of Norway algorithm in England for people to kill each other. So, you take consciousness, you take titans and the administrations of United States. So we have to be pragmatic. Is the Ministry of War, and they're being more honest. It's the same. So let's make it in a friendly way and listen to the young generation and change your perspective. So when you make the map of the children that are being raped around the world and why women are like this, or why women pretend to be men or want to be, these are other for high levels of and the lowest forms of dark psychology to understand. But when you have a society that's never been gaslighted or run under bullies and so much violence and material, sort in the mind, you'll enjoy it when you're in your 20s, but when you see people like that, just going to the mall, just going shopping, and Europe has become a bit more like that, when people would just be more in the bar, more parties, more friends, more reunions. Because the change of the times have happened with internet as well. So we're having these conversations right now, and it's not interesting for England because they will support always the United States. And this one support all the world at the same time. They have more positive spirit that it can come through. I think Russia really wants to share or trust because it's wounded from the inside and the outside with this war, as anyone would. Um, which is welcome everyone. It's an invitation to see at least some cities, from at least one city as an example to start, even from Ukraine, who needs it more, especially. We don't need this universal coin to recover, not to support people to go on sabotage. Cannot invest on countries that won war and have been supporting war. They have to pay themselves to recognize these values. They have to value that. You cannot have it for free because they've been investing in wars. So there is a penitence period of having to look within the misery they have created and to recognize that is to say, I don't want to do this anymore. It has to come from their own free will, form of intelligence. But they will see the world just looking at taking accountability. Their own. This, you would see it without a map as well. You will see life in another form, um, without having to be calculative. It would just happen. It's just when you walk by inertia, by another form of intelligence that happens by itself. And we'll keep discovering in outer space. And it's fun to go on a cast with your friends when you were children, to play in fields, fields, new schools, new classes, new types of people. It's good to know what brings you together from others. So I would love to be with my mother, really, and I think that right now is where I belong with my family. It's difficult to understand that sometimes you cannot have everything. We will be able to understand cancer as well, and consideration of societies and societies that have certain sickness that others don't have so much. So how we interact in society as well as within our body, how we flow the energy. That's my auntie Annie in Argentina. She was a social worker, and I love her very much. I cried 7 hours when she died from cancer when I was 7 years old, which is arrived from Argentina. We didn't know she had cancer. In this picture, she knew she would die. We didn't know. I hated the fact that she couldn't catch it on time, but my mother spread the doctors couldn't tell that in the future it will be found. Doing a lot of research as well. She expressed me her worries. She helped everyone. Nobody cared about her as a social worker who devoted her life and had no children, died virgin. She was very beautiful, with emerald eyes. She truly had cancer. It is not to honor as a better person than another. Osho would say that it is the sickness of good people, is the sickness of enlightened people, because they suck the bad energy from others. They keep it. So you're not very in touch with it. How to transmute this and transform this. She could feel that pain later on. It kill her. It's nice to see animals being free from circus and countries that will never have a circus again, as Portugal. Maybe in the last country in Europe to not have a circus. We might be able to map as well in the world where they're doing things to animals that are not right. Thanks to the people getting to know it. Take the mickey out of corrupted people. I think it'll be a lot of fun for influencers. What they find out. All right. Um, it's beautiful to take care of your body, the sports. I think watching the World Cup brings physical consciousness. I was physically exhausted. I thought I was a soccer player. But when I went in trance, I was feeling all my body running, and your imagination can get mentally exhausted as well. People are moving for what they're running for. What brings them together. So these are reasonable questions as well to honor and to accept to a certain degree. So it is good to know I'm going to study. I'm just going to study to break down storm brainstorm how to know when you know that you suspect that some people have fraudulent activities. So it has to do with character traits, by being suspicious, by noting they have so many workers, they don't look sad, they don't look like they're having a happy job. You know, can be true, can not be true, but it's good to note. You know? Some people are charismatic, and you could never tell. Um, some people have dualities from different worlds within that you might as well discover through the intelligence of others. So being in silence is the most beautiful, and just going to enjoy a little bit, go out on a journey and a quest, and you know, to go and find for a treasure. Um, so if you get to see if teenagers are working and studying at the same time, they're generating this for the community, right? So they might invest on traveling one day and get to do this on another place of the world that needs to be mapped. Yeah, especially if their parents come from there, because they will be reflected from the same culture and mirror each other as one easier as well. So, it's very important because this is a lot of people that are Afro American, Spanish, from South America, around the world as well. Well, the something that is very beautiful, and to honor Chinese people that welcome Trump with open heart, and the children. It's difficult to please everyone when everyone is supporting you. Uh, so, the time is ticking. Time does not betray. Mathematics never lies. So your results will talk for you, right? I'm just talking extra time, so maybe we can avoid problems. I don't know what influencers like to do, probably they don't want to be politicians or like a political group. Maybe they like more their freedom of expression. I don't know. I don't know what they really want to do. They like to make questions, they like to have their followers, and maybe they love to do that, what they do forever. I like to also listen what is their movement, but they love to feel that's their motive with their motion pictures. So, but it's very important to listen to everyone. I really want to thank Piers Morgan to have brought clavicula, and I really love the ending where he was like, "Oh, yeah, I would love to have clavicular." To Max Martin, myself as well. On a, but it's something you do with yourself, of course. I don't think this guy is gonna want to be doing that for others. But I guess you need sort of like some people can do it alone. Sometimes you need friends to do sports and to see. I don't know, whatever it is that you like to do for a longer life. Of course, I've been doing that. I've been looking really good and spending a lot of time in my 20s, 30s for that. No, it's like I don't really care. But I do care for my health and the energy. So that's, yeah, I would really mind to have open conversation about, those. And also, it was very beautiful to see that, Piers Morgan teaching him also was from his profession. And yes, sometimes there are dualities, and sometimes they are difficult. I don't know what, like, if you don't know what happened with Andrew Tate, like, um, from my experience, you can say, oh well, probably Elon Musk really likes Andrew Tate, but you might just like them as warriors and think of them as pawns because they will support you or whatever against the real world, like real world, his real world, and we have very authentic points of view. And then, so yeah, of course I like and support him because he's British and outspoken, and that's the freedom of expression I like to hear. But it's not that really like how he speaks about women. So it's like he's for a kind of woman, for a kind of man. That's not my. But I can understand his cockiness, but there is something behind more sinister, and I had explained in the private that I've seen documentaries of children being missing in Romania from a 13-year-old age. I've seen parents. So, as a woman, I don't care. You are an adult, you're a bitch, you will do anything, you got there for money, you want to do that for money, he wants to do that, so you carry with the consequences. But kidnapping children that are 12-year-old, 13-year-old girls in Romania, it's been an all rings of all schools of people that they have been trying to clean out of the map, including from England. So this is another generation that got tired of all this, doesn't want to. It's very difficult to understand what people are capable to do for money, right? To have so much money. So narratives are being told and supported and sold. So, it's very easy to manipulate people for money, sex, fame. Go and listen to Jordan Peterson talk in his discourse on Pinocchio. Very prophetic, or how others manipulate others that are innocent and fall into these desires that might seem innocent at this first time. Gets out of control. You want more. See, many people say, I won't do that, I won't go there. But everybody has the temptation. Many will silence. So it is sad to, you can share. It's better to not know. If you don't know, you don't know. I can tell because I can tell from the location. I can tell from certain clues, but I don't have I don't have all the evidence. I'm just here to talk off my elbows. So it's better to have a healthy sexual environment than all this, because it's part of nature. than having all these perversions, because the nature needs to go somewhere, so it will get twisted. It's been studied with narratives that are made in the youth, the immature. It's always beautiful to contemplate the arts of relation through people, and some people, like the Queen Elizabeth, will just love her kingdom and have other forms of, as I look at her, relating. She may just be spending hours watching TV and wanting to know what is out there, and perhaps watching a lot of, sometimes even evangelists from the United States, to inspire herself with this speech that maybe is not of her Anglican church, but these are all many styles of affairs that people have through their love, and they convert their love to God, to society, to serve, sometimes sacrificing themselves to give straight, because that's what they love most. So it is maybe easier for a woman than for a man. Who knows? Who knows what's going on inside the world? Um, just imagine the day I stopped talking. That will be like the greatest day of my life. So it will be so beautiful. So everything is working. People are just talking and listening to these values. There's somebody else that's taking my role, and perhaps behind the scenes, because more stable and easygoing. Those countries that want to kill each other, or cultures kill the other, those are that's their free will, as a collective consciousness. So they're primitive cultures, or difficult to talk with, because they're based on very ancient trauma, pain, never change. We did not change through these thousands of years and expect them to change now. Might change if they see the map. If they don't see the map, you will see their deserts, what's left from war. People really want to invest there. So I think creative people should be invested on. Um, I've seen a lot of people that come from wars that are more invested than people that have education to do better. But Europe and the United States, already everything is made already there. So there's nothing much to do. We're gonna make another house, another housing. Just donate it and buy more. Just showing TikTok. It's not my social consciousness of, yeah, of course. You love to celebrate the material world, but not under those conditions when you really look around. Many people that are from Spain that are not in Spain, who have a country where the Spanish people left Spain and are not as worthy as they wish to be in their own country because it's been so corrupted with their own people. There were no jobs. They had to be looked down in other Nordic countries as inferior immigrants of Spain. So yeah, you might have a lot of immigrants in Spain as well. Spanish became immigrants too, for the first time in history, thanks to the European community. It's not its fault of Spain, it was an experiment. But Spain is nourishing a lot of South Americans and so on so far. We'll find some equilibrium, I guess. We might dance again, who knows? Who knows? There is no way return. To celebrate for others, for somebody that you used to be. You return to be that again. We don't know what is being Spanish anymore. When you return to Spain, because you don't have nothing left. You have nothing here as well. These are questions of globalization. These are questions of loving your culture, of maintaining your culture, your data. No other culture can do as yours. That's very different than what are they doing to your language and the meaning of why Italy moved the way it is, why Spain moves the way it is, why these translations change because they're also changing the meanings. So have compassion in your conversation with the United States when you're talking. Study with people of technology and study with psychiatrists how the abuser will never say sorry or give up. The abuser is always going to feel that his way of being is he has his right. I want to express this in a long discourse. You have to come together to with a psychiatrist or somebody that does hypnosis as well to understand the mind of the tech titan from the United States. You have to be in first person and do an hypnosis and really go deep to forget who you are. Come together. You think you're all from Silicon Valley. You have been there for decades, having what you have, creating the Macintosh, the iPhones, creating these technologies together, creating the crypto money that the guy has a Japanese name, with Bill Gates, creating these different computers, who also supported Apple as well, from all these chips as well, all the investors, where they come from, and their vision to own the world with their investments. That's been from decades. They've been having viruses on the internet I know this from when I was in New York City, but those are the friends I had, but we were always around the people that would be around computers. So these cookies are viruses, what they in the old times was known as viruses. I call them cookies. So you have heard them talk about, okay, we will have war, we'll have war, viruses. They also have their inner conflicts. Us to belong to more market investors. So Bill Gates was sometimes they have business together and sometimes they have business against. So Elon Musk is part of this group that now is being tried to put together for the multiverse to help with the characters and to map the world. And now they have been put against the world. Bill Gates mainly wanted to hide his crime stealing the formula of virtual reality, but he made Meta. But Meta was to unite the companies of the characters of the world from video games and movies. Not companies. He had with Windows just to create alliances through technology companies. He already had that. But for the multiverse, I send that formula with the infinite number, explaining the loop, and so on. So that was a very good way of hiding what he did to put the world as if we are the enemies. So when something is done in an innocent way, because people do not know, hey, well, we're going to scan, we're going to give you free internet, we're going to give you free Facebook, we're going to give you free everything until they conquer everything. So they will be dependent to globalization, being talking about people from around the world. If you really look at it, you can make your own movies as well. And it's care for your people to prosper. Take care of your language. So very sorry to say goodbye. I just feel I have talked a lot and it just belongs to other people to do what they want with their companies and for people to just be creative at least, just to see the young generation, perhaps the leaders from around the world, take time and get to understand there are more geniuses to discover, but more than that, something that's divine and graceful and everlasting. That is beauty. You can see beauty, but you can also feel it. You might be like the dark parts, of course. Heavy metal sometimes. Just need a break from the World Cup, things like that. But you're all questioning these values as well. The world will decide what it's going to do the next years. So when you are responsible for your language and your culture, you know how important it is to invest in this, not in war. So we'll also ask Putin to speak with his enemies to what is more of an interest to invest on, and let others invest more as well. Please. It would be wonderful, really, to see that these old ways of sharing information are just being dismantled to create new forms, and see up, up throughout your own consciousness, your body, in the lineage of your family as well. So, what would be the best betrayal you can do? You have only betrayal throughout your bloodline. As Russian, be towards yourself and your people.